We're now going live. Hi, everyone. Minister Nataki, Minister John, and all our friends here, there, and everywhere around the world. We give you thanks and praise and honor and glory this morning for this wonderful day that the Lord has blessed us with, and how fast the month is going. I cannot say it enough. It's just mesmerizes me to see, how quickly time is going by, especially in 2023, and the months are moving like a jet stream. Today we're talking about a legacy of emergence, legacy, things that are emergent, the newness of life, and all that's taking place. Also today, I have a guest coming on. He's from the original Caravana. They have a legacy participation band in the Caravana annually. And he's going to talk about this legacy that they want to preserve, the founding fathers. Because, when we lose our history, there is a problem. Somebody else picks it up and could claim ownership to it. So let's talk about that later on. But we want to talk about this legacy, this emergence, this how we emerge. What are we preserving for 2023, from 2022 and beyond, and behind us going into the new year? I was looking at some old buildings and I was reading some history of how things happen. I actually went back and looked at old buildings in the Caribbean and Trinidad and Grenada and places like Haiti and some parts of Caracas and quite a number of cities in Africa. And I looked at how our legacies are emerging. People are talking about poverty on the continent in mass volumes. But then when you look at the building state of things, you look at the spiritual state of things, people in Africa are very tuned into the Word of God. And the same way we were tuned into it in the Caribbean and in North America and, outside of the continent in Europe, they're still tuned into it. And they're built. Now, Africa is huge. And we have the Chinese government in Africa offering to build everything. But what is their takeaway, as our legacies emerge? Because our land is not really for sale. It's not ours. It belongs to God. So he gave us it as a heritage, a place to live, wherever we are. We who are in the West, we did not come here by heritage. We came here by our ancestors' enslavement, forced enslavement, without remuneration. And that's how that emerged right there. Now we have a lot of wars in the West, and a lot of the people are moving into North America, Europe, because of all of this. Strives in places like India, strives in places like Sri Lanka, Ethiopia, all the disruptions, and I call them disruptions of corruption. Because if we're left to live our lives as human beings, there wouldn't be any dissension, there wouldn't be any divisions, because we will have what we call common respect for one another. Okay? So this is how we're going to emerge today. Let's talk about the emergence in North America and how we fit into this huge 21st century melting pot of so many things that are happening. Let's look at the seniors. What are they getting out of it? The children, what are they getting out of it? What is it? What does the air feel like? In per se, quote unquote, it's just, a format. But the life we're living now, what type of life is it? What is it filled with? How could we relate to times past in times present? How do we keep our good legacies in this emerging, unchanging, seemingly unchanging, new norms of culture, expressions, etc., etc., etc. And the list is very long. You can go on and on and on and on and realize so many things have taken place, and here we are in 2020, the 21st century, 2023, and the month of April just came and is whizzing by. It's almost half of the month as we speak today. Today is actually the 12th day of April. Think about it. How times are. What are we saying to each other? How is the human relationship? How is that legacy emerging? Have we learned anything from the past or historically? I think of it every day. How are we as human beings functioning at this time? How is leadership? Look at the mayoral race. 29 people so far running in a race to be the mayor. I keep wondering why. What each of them have to offer or re-offer that they haven't even accomplished. But they're running because they say they have experience. Experience is a great teacher, but what have you learned by the experience that you have had? Have you become empathic? Have you become fair? All of these things are part of our legacies. What are citizens saying? Are you able to reach your MPs, your past MPs and MPPs and the mayor's office? When you look at emergence. These are some of the things that's coming here. The Bible talked about it. When we forget what the law is all about and how the law is supposed to be distributed, how fair it is, equity, humanitarian, your human rights, humanitarian good, your human rights. Are we playing on an equal playing field globally? Why are some rich and some poor? The Bible says there will always be poor amongst us. But should we not be playing fair so that life could be at a certain level? Well, I guess unless you're living in places like New Zealand where there's a different structure, But that's how it is. Good morning, Minister Merle, if you're on.
Good morning. What happened? You not see me?
Yes, I didn't see you before. I'm seeing you now.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's good to see your face. How are you?
I am good by God's grace.
Yes, and here we emerging in this stage. Have you seen how the month has just gone?
Well, Pastor
Time is, I mean, I understand in the spiritual sense, but when you look at it in the natural, it's like, it leaves you in awe.
If I look at it in the natural, I will feel very aged. So I love to keep it in the spirit way, where I feel as though I was just born.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You see, John 16:33 tells me, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world, you'll have trouble.
Yes.
But take heart, I've overcome the world.
Yes.
You know, we
And that's
really
what
have
people
to.
don't realize, that he has overcome the world for us, and therefore we are overcomers.
With all that's going on, you know, when I used to take pictures when I'm driving, long time, I took a lot of pictures because I lived in Pickering. So I worked in Markham.
Mm-hmm.
So I always on the back roads, right? And on
Mm-hmm.
those back roads past the Daphne, there was never,
Mm-hmm.
ever anything but woods.
Mm.
I would drive there. You said me against the wind. It was just
Yeah.
the wind and me driving. There
Oh
were
yeah.
no cars for miles, right?
No, and they're narrow roads, and they're very nice. You enjoy God's creation in that way.
But now, when I show the kids all the trees, I know that now when I drive, I was out in that area recently, and there was no end of houses. Every inch was taken over by homes.
Yep, simply because humanity don't understand. When you look at the population and you look at the amount of houses, empty houses, okay, everybody wants, and especially with people coming into Canada, a lot of people, they want a house. And when they realize they could afford that house, it's a big deal. And then they want a bigger house. And then they want a bigger house. And they forget at the end of the day, this house becomes an empty nest. It's
I
you
know,
and the house.
you
When
know,
you,
we were the same things growing up. I mean,
yeah,
you know, we had like a bungalow, and then I wanted, now my husband, he to stay right there in the bungalow. I wanted the 2 stories.
yeah.
And then I
It's
wanted bigger, you know? I, I mean, like everybody, people have
you
that
want
kind
space. You start looking at it, well, if I have this space, I can do this thing. But and we forget that we have to furnish all these things, and we have to clean all these things, or have a cleaning woman coming in, or cleaning person's company or company, whatever the case may be, in order to accommodate all of this. Isn't that something?
of, we were not thinking in that frame
No,
before.
we don't think that far ahead. And then when we wonder, now they have all this climate issues, because they're chopping down the trees that's supposed to give us the quality of oxygen that God, planned for us, and to
You know,
have the land to be able to be productive, so that we wouldn't be hungry. But the human instinct is something else. We're selfish for our own no good at the end of the day. And all in the call of saying, I want bigger and better. And when we pass away, we don't even know the day we're gone. And we don't know what happened to the big house.
and that's where you leave an inheritance.
Yes, you leave an inheritance for the next
Leave an
one, the next
inheritance.
generation coming up.
Exactly. You know, when we think of how much our children are struggling,
Yeah.
and we think of our parents, I'm very thankful that my parents left stuff for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, like my dad died when I was 18, right?
Yeah.
But each of us got $5,000, right?
Yeah. You have your inheritance there. Yes, yes.
So we 5,000 back.
What? That was money. You're rich.
I mean, like when I came to Canada, my
Uh-huh.
5,000 was 2,500
Yeah.
when I came to Canada, right?
Can you imagine?
And that was enough for a down payment for the house.
Yep. More than enough.
Right. But you had a choice with that 5,000. I had a choice to buy a house or
Condo.
go back to college.
Yeah.
Right. You have to
Yeah.
know how to manage your inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Very important.
Yeah, so
Very, very important.
I did a bad management. I got married.
You know what? We make mistakes going up and down, and you will, and mistakes are there for us to learn. It's the fact remains that if you make mistakes and you don't learn the lesson, then you have a problem.
Well, the thing is, as I said, if I was joking when I said I made a bad management.
No, I know,
I
but
was
what I'm saying that there are times with those people make bad management with the investments.
yeah.
So whether it's the stocks, whether it's the property or whatever, or
So
business.
and so many people, I know a lot of people, they take courses on
In
how to
management.
invest. Yeah,
Yeah.
how to do it because even older women or men,
Mhm.
if their husband die and leave them all this amount of money, how are they
Yeah, they
going to
get a
manage it?
financial advisor.
No, these financial advisors rob you. Go
Oh,
and take a
they do that
course.
too.
Oh, yeah,
But
they've
if you
done.
take your own course, you could follow up with what he's doing or she's doing, because you need to know.
Exactly.
They say that,
You
oh,
need
well, this is for this. And, like when you get a lump sum of money, like how when I had my injury and they send me the check and they give me this, they send me what you call it, the statement, the financial statement. And of course, a letter was costing $250 to write at that time.
Could you imagine what it's costing right now?
Exactly. And then you
Yeah.
realize that these people, they rip you off left, right, and center, and with a
Pastor
and with a
Daphne,
smile on their face.
I do not say that they rip us off. We keep in mind that these people go to school for 7 years.
Yes,
It's like
I
I said.
understand. But think about $250 at that time.
Pastor Daphne, they're charging way more than that now.
We know
Pastor
that.
Daphne, now it's not even to write a letter. Now it's just to email something, right?
Oh yeah, they
Some
charge you.
people, they charge you like, I think a
Now the
good 40.
doctors, imagine all your medical records, they charge you by
Yeah.
the page.
Yeah, I choose to tell them that I'm not paying no money to get no medical record because each and every time I go for a job, whether I'm qualified or not, I get
You
a
have
fee
to write
amount.
a new. That's right.
I get training. So guess
Yeah.
what? Any doctor I go to would have to go and do all the blood work, just find
Yeah.
out what's wrong with me. I'm
Yeah.
not paying that money.
No, you just leave it up to them because you have to be smart, So, well, I already have my, you have your records, yes, but you have the choice of saying,
Too.
okay, I'll start afresh or I'll let it go,
So we see all the different changes that's happening.
Yep, a lot of it.
The buildings,
Wages.
Pastor Daphne, like all the buildings. I'm
Crazy.
fascinated when I see the amount of construction.
Yeah, it's too much. It's way too much. Way, way too much. We don't need that much construction because when you look at the market itself, they tell you the market is unstable simply because there's so many empty apartments, so many empty houses, and the price tags are going. And if we fall into another recession like we did, everything is going to tumble down.
Listen, Pastor Daphne, we have no control over certain things. This world is what God put it. It's going to happen whether we like it or not.
Like it or not.
We just,
oh, yeah.
As I said, the Bible said, the peace of God. Be like the 5 wise virgins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I said, be a scout.
Yeah.
We can't sit around and think, oh, this will happen and that would happen. Oh, I'm scared. Like,
I'm not scared.
I see the young ones. The young ones.
But we have to let them know that it's coming and to be prepared.
The thing is, you could tell them as much as cows fly is what I'm saying. They're not hearing listening. That we need to find the word of God to help us deal with the issues, with what's going on presently.
Yep.
You know, you quickly hear them say, "Oh, I was so afraid." I'm like, "Of what?"
What? Yeah, what
You
are you
know,
fearful of?
these,
What's emerging every day that you cannot deal with? You know, it's that what legacies are you putting together? Because you cannot put your legacy together in fear.
well, as I said, the fear leaves us when we know that fear comes from the devil. Lots of
Yeah.
people do not understand that
Mhm.
spirit realm,
No.
right? I mean, like
Hmm.
me, for instance, I think it was about a year before COVID that
Hmm.
I really mastered the spirit of fear. Do you know, by the
Oh
time
yeah.
we get up in our age, and that was just recent,
Hmm.
by the time we get up there in age, you'd always hear they had that we as adults,
Hmm.
we silently stay inside and have that fear of death,
Yeah.
right? And then I remember, talking to God and I said, wow. And then he said,
It's a crossover.
your life is unto Christ.
Hmm.
What does this world have
Nothing.
that you're so afraid of, that you so want to stay in it? We talk about all the chaos and all the stuff that's going on, right?
Hmm.
And that he's who helped, God helped the Spirit of God. The Holy Spirit is who helped me master fear.
Hmm.
So the young people, I don't know, there's so much groups nowadays in churches, when we go, and these are things that people need to talk, but they don't really. When we had our prayer groups in church, in our cell group, these things
Yeah.
were not addressed, Pastor Daphne.
No. Mm.
These are the kind of stuff that they never address. We
Yeah.
address how to build the church, to give more tithes,
Yeah.
how to
But
give more money to Love World,
yeah. But nothing
how
about our
to.
legacies, our lives.
But it's imperative that they help the people deal with all the emotional stuff that's going
Yeah.
on.
Hmm. Yes.
You
Yes.
know.
All the crises that come in,
Mm-hmm.
and those things are not being addressed at all. We talk about everything, Everybody's talking about what they want to do, but um, when Paul talked about he heard things, he addressed them right away.
He did in his
You
letters.
know,
Yes, he
and
certainly did.
we find that today you don't find pastors come and say, "Hey, you know, there's an issue that needs to be addressed. Let us go into the word and pray about it and address these different issues that are taking place in the world." You're not even seeing them coming up to have a
Pastor
discussion
Daphne,
with a member of parliament or anyone in the communities. There's no representation.
none. Like even within the church, like a very simple thing of them. They could have groups, marriage counseling
Hmm.
for the
Yep.
people that's already married, single groups. They're not
Yeah.
doing those things. They need
And
to be running
when I'm
these things.
saying groups, you have the group, but you also have your professionals coming in to talk about the issues. And if you have professionals within that same framework within the church, then we utilize them in that manner. Because when you are a pastor and you have counseling and stuff like, how is the counseling done?
The
Is it
thing
just the
is,
fact that
Pastor,
because you cannot get a certificate and say that you're pastor and you haven't gone through counseling and all these different crises? Like for instance, with Oral Roberts and Billy Graham and Morris Cerullo, you have all these different areas to go through, so that
and you see, and
at
at
the
the
end of
end
the
of it,
day, you have the experience and the
this is the
expertise.
experience. This is where you start building the legacy.
Hmm.
You're talking about what do we leave in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when they
The
start,
ideologies.
yeah, having all these different laying the foundations,
That's
like
right.
when we talk about what Morris Cerullo left, or even Miles Monroe, Men of God, Oral Roberts, and Billy Graham, when we think of it, like, or local churches could start doing that.
Yeah.
Not just having the buildings and say, well, I got 2 buildings.
Yeah.
What's in the building?
What type
What's
of
in
programs?
it?
What programs do you have?
What are you offering the people?
That's right. It has to be a package. You're not just on the pulpit. You have to be able to function off the pulpit within that framework. What are we doing? And the thing about it is, one of the things we do in churches is we have one person that do counseling. It just doesn't. Nobody else is capable of counseling. We're not.
Pastor, and that's how we
No, no,
look
no.
at
We
this.
become so self-centered and selfish.
This is how we look at it. I thought about it, and we think even like we switch churches, right? And that you could pray and everything, and because you go into a new church,
they have a different form doctrines.
They don't even want you to come up and pray for others.
And that's the problem. They're so indoctrinated that they don't even realize the word of God is not about doctrines. So the doctrines are man-made.
This thing of what we're leaving or legacy to the children, it doesn't just go with the children. I believe that in our church, we should have that foundation. A lot of churches need to step up their games.
Yep.
And don't just have a building and not form various groups within it. Self-help groups.
That's right.
Because we offer each other a lot.
Definitely. But you see, then again, there's the issue of a lot of people having issues and they're not bringing it forward because it's a personal thing and they feel, like somebody's eyes are on you. Nobody's eye is on you. What you're feeling inside your heart and your stomach and your system has nothing to do with what you're helping people to go through in this life.
But the thing is, so much people are going through crisis and they are suffering alone or afraid to share with each other. But as I said, if you and I have, it's not 1,001 spirit.
No, there's only one spirit.
Christ gave us one spirit. And in that one spirit, he gave us that blessed, blessed agape love. Amen. And when we love, right?
It covers all things.
Oh my God, our understanding. How could we sit? I know it happens, Pastor Daphne, because I saw it. I was in shock. I was in awe. I was like, because I'm used to going to church where the people in my church is my sisters. Yeah. We don't do harm to each other.
They have us and them in the church. They have us and them in the church. That separation, which is kind of crazy, Unfortunately, these are the things that happen. And we go into churches where they have hierarchies. It's this group and that group and the other group. Where did they come from? Only God knows.
How could you form a legacy in that?
There's no legacies there because you're putting yourself on the pedestal and you're putting everybody else below it. And we cannot be children of the Most High God to help ourselves in the church, help our families around us, and those outside in the world, and gather those sheep if our attitudes and mindsets are like that. And that's the thing. I remember going to a program in Christ Embassy, and the girl said, "It's only for pastors." I said, "What's a pastor? Who is a pastor? We're all God's ministers. And whether I have a title or not, you would never know because I'm saying, well, yeah, it's only for pastors. I said, well, then you keep the pastors in the pasture because you're talking about sheep in a pasture, you know? So I left her there. So finally she came back and says, oh, someone called me and says that you are a pastor. So why didn't you say that? I said, what's that has to do with anything? It has nothing. That is a title. It's like the tea. You know, I want a cup of coffee or tea. There is a cup, but there is the handle. All these titles we get are just handles to say, well, you know, this person has the experience to do this. This person was taught, you know, taking courses to do this so that you become accredited in what you're saying. You know, so attached to your name are accreditations. When you go and look me up, you'll see accreditations next to my name. It tells you what I studied, what I did, what I have, what I don't have, and what I'm still having. And that's the whole issue. We get onto these, you know, it's like you have a home, like you say, 2 levels and you're climbing the steps and you're on the top of the step yelling down at me. Well, I'm up here, girl. And you know what? In order for you to come up here, you got to make sure that you know how to climb the steps.
No. I'm all kosher. I have intercom.
Life is
Oh,
too much.
shucks.
Sometimes I look back and I look at human beings and I look at the people in the church, I look at the people on the streets and
No, but we are talking about legacy and how do
yeah,
we
and these are the
build that
people
within
that
our
have to leave
children,
legacies everywhere.
you
How are
know?
you leaving your legacy?
Even us, like, you know, one of the things is our children, like, you know,
Yeah, what are we leaving for them?
salvation,
What are they learning?
how they learned from us. Like when my son sucked his teeth the other day, because I said I before was rude and obnoxious. He said, "Oh, I wish I had my." He wasn't. He had. He wasn't. He was at work. He was
Oh, he
working.
wanted to record it.
He wanted to record me saying I was rude and obnoxious. I was not always this kind of person, but so he and his sister could have something. But it's good when you set examples.
Yeah.
You know,
They may not
just
take
for
it right away, you
yours.
know, but at the end of the day, as they mature in their thinking, they will realize what you were saying was right. Because you're
And
not
then
saying, you were not saying it in unkindness. You were saying it in the kindness so that they will learn from it and they will become better because it's in love. Love is like the blanket that you fall asleep in the night with, the comforter that you get under. Jesus, help me. Think about love. That's how it is. Love is when I get all my best pajamas and it's warm and soft and cuddly. That's love. And I say, God,
that's like
I
when
thank you for
breathe.
that kind of love, you know?
I said,
I
when
get
I
into
breathe,
the fresh air.
when I breathe in my pillow, I'm breathing in love. I'm breathing in Christ, right?
We
So
have to
when I'm
know
breathing
love.
in my pillow, I know that love is holding me. Love is embracing me in my.
Listen,
So I sleep easy. You know,
it's beyond that. You know, it's the words that we bring in our mouth, you know, that tells us it's coming out with love. You know, some people, they'll meet you, they're rough and they're gruff and they, you know, they're like the rocks that you meet along a cliff that's about to fall off and cause somebody some fatal issue, you know. And instead of saying good morning, they say, huh?
That magic word. I am telling you. I remember coming back from Florida and my daughter lived in an apartment then, and I was in the elevator. And I said, wow, nobody in this elevator says good morning. I heard the Spirit of God said, did you tell them good morning? I said, oh, okay. So every time I got in an elevator from that day, I told every man, Jack, good morning. I made friends. My daughter said, Mommy, how these people calling your number? I said, oh, they asked me for
we said good morning.
I said good morning. People thought I lived in the building. They thought I lived there.
No, but
So they
you're just
called to
passing
ask
through.
me how to problem solve stuff in the building. I was like, oh, it's my daughter who live here. But
Not
I could
me.
find out for you,
Mm.
Yes. So we do wherever we go.
And Minister Brown, that type of legacy, families in Toronto don't really care for you to do that. Oh, mom, you become a know-it-all. It's not about know-it-all. It's having had the experience in life that gives you that opportunity to be able to help someone easily. Do you know how difficult it is to call a government office and get issues settled? You get so much runaround that you could run around a soccer field 10 times before they actually give you an answer. But when you know what you know, and you're able to say, you call and you say, I live at such and such a place and I need this done through this department. They are quick to hurry and get it done because they don't want their name called to the management saying, oh, someone from that community called and they did not get the service that they expected. Because these things are measured. There's a lot of polling going on and people answer these polls. So there are ways to do things, and we have to learn as a body of Christ and children of God and parents and grandparents to be able to dispel all these things with our children, with our grandchildren, with the neighbors, with the friends, with the community, so that people will become informed. And that's what it's all about. How many have called the mayor's office or know how to get to the mayor's office? You call 311 and you get the main office. They can tell you anything they want to at that level. But if you know where you have to go, you can call, say you call 311, could you connect me to such and such and such? And that's what you need because you need service. Your taxes is paying for service. So why aren't you getting the service you want? And these are things that legacies you put together legacies, the know-how of moving around in your neighborhood, in your city, in your country. That's important. That's a great legacy. There's a church that will do this for you. There's a community center that will do this for you. There's this what the bank can do for you. This what your MP and your MPP and your council can do for you. These are legacies, things that people need to have. It's like something you have in a package, and so that it can give you that autonomy to feel the freedom of being able to maneuver this life. It's not an easy life. So what are we doing? It's not an easy life. So we need to maneuver it, you know? So that's how it's going. So today, legacies. Today, we're talking about building legacies, leaving legacies, creating the legacy so you can leave a good legacy. But before we continue further in this, I was supposed to have a guest coming on. I don't know if he's online because I don't see him online. I sent him all the information so that he can get online. I sent him the ID and the passcode. I don't know where Mr. Williams is, but he was supposed to be talking about one of the legacies in Ontario, which is the Caribana, and the legacy of its inception when it started and how it started. It's not exactly what we see today because today is a skin and grin type of thing, different time to the times that our culture, because was our cultural heritage we're talking about, what our culture came from in the Caribbean, including the steel pan and the carnival, and how it was incepted after the abolition of enslavement when the masters announced so that they can do exactly what is necessary for them. They danced like their masters when they were having their good times and you know, yeah. I got a call keep popping in here every 2 seconds. So that's
Probably
what
Pastor Daphne, you should check to see if it's the guy calling because he
it's
couldn't
not.
get in.
It is not. I saw
Okay.
the number. I can see the number right away, but it's not the same person. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. In terms of legacies, we have Carnival and nobody knows I mean, it's not to say that they don't know, but we need to reiterate what our history is all about. It's not about just getting on the lake show, going down to Carnival and having a great whining time. It's all about a historical event that took place that created the Carnival. And the historical event was the abolition of enslavement. And when that was done, because the white masters at the time, who were the masters, they used to have all the grandiose parties and stuff and dance in their ballroom clothes. And that's exactly how Carnival started. And we added all the other flavorable things that we do, like the stick fight. I remember mom, my mom had an uncle, and he was involved in stick fight. Leonard, listen to me. I say Leonard, Merle, listen to what I'm saying. He loves stick fight. Okay. And I didn't know what it was all about until finally they told me what it was all about. And there was an incident, and he came up and he says to the person, "Oh, so you interfere with my sister." And he butt headed him and knocked him out cold, Minister Merle. So when you look at legacies, we have to look at all the legacies, okay? How you evolve, what's your history about, the good, the bad, and the indifferent about it, so that we can have a legacy to understand. We can change things and we can enhance it. And it's not just for us. Every nation under the sun has legacies, and they have the good, the bad, and the indifferent. All right? So don't feel alone. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, it is well done, well said.
Yeah. So let us build foundations with our legacies so that our children, our grandchildren can have something to share among themselves with the generations ahead, and also with their friends when they want to talk about their history. You can't keep everything hiding in a closet, and people don't know what's taking place in life. People have to talk about things. People have to understand things, and that's how you build, by ensuring that we have and we know what that we know the family. Some of them came from this, but and people talk about things. They say, "Oh, this one is from the country." Do you realize that when you travel and you become a lot more cultured in understanding, you realize that the people that live in the country are really people that are really rich. Or there's a fire alarm testing going on in my neck of the woods. Oh, I jumped. It is so loud. Yeah. So the people that live in the country, really, they're the ones that really have it good going. They've got the fresh air, they got the country home, the widespread of the land, and we in the city living in the smog. Think about it. And we say, "Oh, she's from the country." No, she's living where the air is fresh and all is well. So, I thought about it, and I thought about it over many times. And then finally, as I really came to grips with it, yeah, I always used to enjoy when we are driving to Mayaro and Guaya. I'm telling you, going through those coconut where the trees meet each other, and you're going to, oh, it's so beautiful. The windows are down, the air is fresh, the breeze is blowing. That's good legacies. I am going up to the family's property where we all hang out. We take our friends and our friends take us to theirs, and that's how it goes. It's like when Minister Merle and I get together, I meet with her family, she knows some of mine, and that's how we go. And it's always a great thing to do. It's always a great thing. It's one of the blessed things in
But
life.
it's good when we go up to the cottage,
Yes.
When we
So
go
get
up to
out
the
of the
cottage,
home,
it's a
get
total,
up to the
total
cottage.
different atmosphere.
People say, I don't want to buy no land up there. It is it's country. Yeah, that's what
Oh,
you need.
God.
Because it's going to
Yeah.
keep your health together.
The first time I went up to the cottage, I thought, wow, I've never seen so many stars in my life.
Yeah, that's why you can lay back and see all the stars in the
I
heavens.
saw so many stars. Just
And
driving, you
shooting,
see
did you get to see
waterfalls.
shooting stars? Shooting stars.
Wow. And
It's
you're
a
right there on
beautiful,
the lake. You're not really afraid
no.
for the kids to go
Remember,
on a run.
remember when I told you for the holidays, I was out in Paris, and
Yes.
the coyotes, they were having a night run while we were at the bonfire outside. And you can hear them when they got a catch. They all get up in there, "What is it?" And all of them,
I
it's
know.
like a chorus.
When we
I'm
went to the
hearing,
cottage, the only thing we were afraid of is garbage day. Like when you put, when you leave in a cottage like on a Sunday evening and you put the garbage out.
oh yeah, you got all the raccoons.
No, you have the bear that's taller than you standing up.
Oh yeah, oh that's right. I forgot about him. I think he's
You
sleeping
have the
right now.
bears.
I'm in
Oh,
summer rest.
oh my Lord. You see how these things will stand up. Oh my Lord, it was so tall, so
I'm telling you
big.
about food. Only looking at food for me.
Ah, I just love going up to those places, country.
But even if you go to Algonquin Park, Minister Mo, which is not too far from us,
Yeah.
there are bears there, but the rangers will tell you how far you could go. Because I remember when my kids were really small, I took them to spend a day walking through the different trails, and then he would come and says, "Don't go left because the bears are right there." But they're not coming out unless you're close enough for them to get your scent. They will come out. So we would turn back, and he said, he'll tell you exactly what to look for as you're going through
Right,
um,
right.
the park. And this will tell you that you're close to them. You'll see the signs. It's this color, that color. So it's true. We got to get outside. You can't live this life, get old, and leave this land without
I
enjoying the
mean,
things that God has really given to us. It's
like
important.
places like when you go places like say we went Nova Scotia, we went to
Oh
see all
yeah.
the whales. Went underwater to see the whales, right? And we saw
Yeah.
the whales, and we like this day we went whale watching, and we actually were able to see one whale as it went straight up in the air
And
and
it's
splash
so
right
beautiful.
back
And you know
down.
what happened? It's as though like when the girls are skating and they make that triple spiral, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Like when you take a boat cruise, sometimes you will see when the dolphin and stuff get out to the water, or we
Yeah.
would see a whale. Once in a while, if you're on a boat cruise, you see different. And
But you can see the dolphins in the Caribbean too. In
I know we
Mayara and
most of our
Dwyer, you could
cruise.
look out there's certain points out in the water. If there's a rock there, every so often they will come up. I remember that when I was home one year, Dad says to me, look up, look at the peak out there. And there was a little dolphin. He decided he come on top the rock. And I can't swim out that far. And
Yeah.
my cameras at that time was the ones you got to go and get it all, take the film and get it developed. I couldn't pull
Uh,
him far enough. I couldn't pull him in. Now your cameras, you can get your zoom in and zoom out. But there
right.
he was, just a little dot in my camera. But
Mm.
those are beautiful things. Take your children out, take them to the park, the zoo, the different places. Have a day trip with them. Take them down to the lake. Or, we always go to Center Island. All these different things. Take the island cruise, and it's important. The Thousand Islands is right there. Have you ever been to the Red Barn, the
Yeah,
Apple,
yeah, yeah.
the Big Apple? All of those places are nice. In the summertime, when you go to the Big Apple, there are thousands and thousands of baby rabbits and running around wildly. It's such an amazing picture to see, you know. So it's not just sitting at home. Your legacy is built like a book.
Yeah.
It starts
Oh,
with the introduction and it ends with your legacy. At the end of the day, this is what I did, and this is what made me happy, satisfied, and contented. And I can leave this land and say goodbye, you know? And I pass it on to you so you would know who I am, what I did, and how it was. That's legacies. Build your legacy. And build it from the church right
right from
back,
Christ,
right back
part of
to the
it is
time that you're leaving. Leave
besides
your
leaving the
legacy.
physical stuff for people,
That's right. Leave your
there is
footsteps in the sand.
also the all the old stories.
Yes, it's
I met
you,
with one of my cousins recently, and she
mhm.
said to me, "Girl, you know more stories than I do." I said, "Yep,
Wow.
I love to
Isn't it?
go and listen to everybody."
Yeah, because
So,
your grandmother and your great aunts and them, they had some funny things that they said, you know.
oh yeah, and I mean, and the funny thing is, and I we have to share it with our children.
Yeah,
Like we have lots of pictures, right? And they go, who is this? And who is this? And who is this? So I'm
yes,
able to show them who is the grandmother, who is my great grandmother,
yeah.
who is
I
the
have so
aunt.
much.
Like
It's important.
the thing is with our nephews and nieces is good because we live in different parts of the world, right?
Yeah, so you can visit each other.
I have great nieces and nephews that they have never seen us.
No,
No, because we are
well, they have no.
here.
So I have a lot of them that I've met. Listen,
But
let me
what they
give you the
do
joke.
is,
And they're all over the world, and that's really true.
yeah,
You
but
know,
because of the pictures and technology now,
we're able to see them.
we're able to see them on different platforms, like call it. We're able
Mhm.
to chat. So in this time, as I always tell people,
Take advantage of it. Don't sit down in a little. Don't sit down in a little piece of spinning top in the mud. Expand your horizon so that
I
you could
told
be.
people I'm very thankful for living
Yes,
in this age, right? I always preach that.
yeah.
Very,
Get to
very.
know other things, other people, other places where they are. You'll be surprised to know how many people that you're connected to with your legacy in this life that you haven't even touched the surface of seeing or hearing or knowing of them. And the other big thing is, I know we can't live with some of our families. Yeah, I could say that for as number one. But you know what? Always make a connection with them that you could leave something for them to hear, to know, to see. When I'm really down and really angry with my children, I still send a text. If I send it to one, I know the second one will get it, the third one. There's a method to my madness when I'm thinking of how to get my information out there. So I send it out the way I know it will find its way where it wants to go. So you got to have that secret. That's how do we do it? Yep. There's always a formula, you know. God bless my grandparents. They were fabulous. They taught me some little things that I will never, ever, ever, ever forget. And I pass my little nuggets on to my family and immediate as well as those I'm meeting along the way, because I didn't realize there's so many of people in my family. Honest to goodness, Minister Merle, I have a whole world of new families, unreal.
Oh,
Sometimes they send and say hello, and I mean, wonder who's that, I see the name and they tell me who they are. And I'm like, I sit there, I sit, wow, what a world we live in. So don't be limited. Because in our little circles that we had growing up, because our parents kept us really like the chickens under the hen and kept us together so that we can have a day like today to come back and say to you, build your legacy. And don't forget, as it's 11:32, my guest didn't come on, Michael Williams. I hope he comes on the next time. I'll find out why he called me in the middle of our program. So there must have been something that had deterred him from being on. But hopefully by maybe on Friday, he may be on. We'll find that out when I speak with him after the fact. But build your legacies, be kind, be loving, be gracious, and get to know who your creator is. I call him God. He said that is his name. He sent his son Jesus to look after us. So be good to yourself, and the world and God will be good to you. Minister Will, have a great day.
You too, be blessed.
Yes, I'll
Be
talk to you
blessed, Gem
later.
FM family.
Yes, and Gem and Genesis Magazine. Bye-bye.